right, so look who I found. A beautiful Monday morning, and we're outdoors, which is the place to be.
Yes. We thought a good video for this week would be to talk about photography as a hobby as opposed to trying to make money with it, because we've gone through both of this and we have made money with photography, and we also enjoy it as a hobby, and sometimes when you go for one, it ruins the other.
Right, basically, yeah. So we both are busy with our own businesses, running our own businesses every day. And photography for us has always been a passion, but a hobby.
Right.
And the more we get involved with each other and getting into photography, the more avenues we're trying to find to, take it to the next level, I guess. Find other aspects to it.
When we first started doing this, we'd shoot around in the neighborhood. Our kids are friends, and that's how we met, and that's how we became friends and everything. But, we started doing a lot of work in the neighborhood, doing school events. We shot portraits for a little while, and it started to be aside from our regular work that we do, it became, it took the fun out of photography for us a little bit, right?
It started becoming work. And just going back a little bit on what Bill just said, local stuff, when you're starting out photography, you're trying to get used to things, you're trying to get used to controls, shooting different situations. Volunteer as much as you can.
Yeah, that stuff's
for
great.
Local events
Definitely.
And local things, especially at schools. They're always looking for somebody. We've done a ton of that stuff, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. And it really, helps you learn, helps you, find different ways to shoot. But then it starts becoming a time-consuming thing that's taking away from the fun part of shooting, which is being out in the field, knee-deep in a stream, being out there actually shooting. Is now, and the editing is part of it also, which can be fun. It's nice to create the images in the end, but then it's the delivering them to the final user.
It looks like it's nice and quiet here, but it's not.
Communicating with people in different situations, it starts to become, and we take it on as a job because we want to handle the things responsibly, but it starts to become like a job.
But then once you start getting paid to do it, it is a job.
Right.
So now you're, I think for a lot of people, you want to try to see if you can make some money with photography, because it seems like a way you're good at something and you want to, there's a need for photography in all aspects of life. Well, the reason you got into photography, that hobby, that spending time, learning this craft, when you now have to produce something, it changes it dramatically. And now you're working for somebody. You have to produce what they want. There's a lot of pressure. And the fun aspect kind of leaves a little bit. So we've turned that around a little bit by creating projects for us that make money, but are on our terms and a little more relaxed, right? Like the
definitely.
books.
Definitely. So, we first started doing this stuff online, and it's really the most fun part of it now still is just sharing photos online, on Instagram, on Facebook is really the most fun part of it. And we started getting into other things. We shot portraits for a while, and as much as it's great, again, to be outdoors with your camera in your hand, it's tedious. There's a lot of work involved, and you're delivering for someone else. You're shooting for someone else's vision rather than your own, and the audience is 3, 4, 5 people that you're shooting for,
right.
And their immediate family who says how much they love the pictures, and then that's the end of that.
So when we got involved, we first started out with shooting for Walt Disney World magazine for a year or so maybe.
Yeah.
And that was great because our images were getting out there and people were seeing them, and it was, we loved shooting the Disney parks, so that was fun. So we did that for a while, and then we worked on the books, and that took the last 4 years. We did the 2 books, and that was a great creative outlet because we did it at our own pace. These were images that we were shooting for our own vision, really, right? And so if you can find a way to make money with photography that you really enjoy, you may love being a wedding shooter and that pressure and that every weekend, getting out there and shooting, and that's great. But I think for us, we found it was a little much.
Right. So we're really trying to get back to more what we love doing, which is we're still sharing online. And one of the fun things, I was just in Disney 2 weeks ago for 4 days shooting, and one of the most fun things now is actually sharing those images that I was down there collecting when I was there, sharing them online and hearing the feedback and everything. And then the other part that we're really getting into is this, which is just fun, just sitting here talking about photography, talking
sharing
about all aspects,
teaching, helping
gear,
other
techniques,
photographers,
answering questions. It's really the interaction with the people, whether the comments, the questions that they have with these videos and on our other social media. It's just such a huge fun part of what we're doing.
So if you're making that decision, like you're trying to, we know so many photographers that are amateurs or not professional because they don't earn their living at it, but their images are magnificent. You know,
as good as any professional photographer.
They're
you know.
spectacular. So we get hung up on that. You know, are you a pro? Are you not a pro? I think if you enjoy photography as a hobby, and don't feel bad about that, and just really enjoy it, and you know, you don't need to go try to be the, you know, portrait photographer in your neighborhood. I mean, if you want to make a few extra bucks, it's nice. But if you're, I think a lot of people are like us. They're already established in a career. Maybe, you know, maybe you're working somewhere and you just want this hobby. Maybe you make a few extra bucks to buy gear or to go on a vacation or something like that. I think that's a really nice sweet spot for the amateur photographer, you know?
Right, yeah, but the overall point is try to keep it back to what you love doing. You know, if photography is what you love, if editing photos in Lightroom or Photoshop for hours on end is what you love, do that. Keep doing that. And you know, when you find yourself getting away from that, when you find yourself when you walk past the camera and it's sitting there and you say, I haven't even picked it up in a week and a half, get back to that. Get back to doing that stuff.
The whole thing about photography is it's a very creative and fun hobby. You meet people, you plan trips to go shoot different things, and that's great. And if you can somehow figure out a way to make some money with it, or you do want it to be your career and you have a drive to do that, I think that's awesome.
Right.
But you got to know yourself, and I don't think you should feel bad if you don't have that drive, or if you can't make that happen and you just enjoy photography for photography. I don't think it matters one way or the other. Everybody's journey through this, I think, is different. They have a different path with photography, and we've certainly seen that over the years with our friends and other people we know. You know, some people try to make a living at it and they succeed. Some try, they don't. Some people go into totally different things. They become editors, or they go into video completely, and it's great.
Right, yeah, we've gotten together with groups of people who all share the same interest in photography and are just as passionate about it, but everyone has, like Bill said, a completely different story. Their end use for their photography is completely different. Some are pros, some aren't, some don't share with anybody. They just, you know, hang a couple of pictures on their walls. But when you're standing there at the edge of the water and you have your camera on your tripod and it's just a bunch of photographers sharing information and having a good time, you know, that's really the best part. That's what it's all about.
And along with that, don't feel bad if you don't have the best, most expensive gear, because it's, you know, we like talking about gear, and as you get better, you tend to want better gear. But it doesn't mean you can't get out there and be a photographer with your phone or with a point and shoot camera or something like the M50, which we're shooting on here, which is an inexpensive mirrorless camera. It really doesn't matter. It's just, you know, to get out there and use what you have, right?
Right, and there's a limit to how much creativity you can have with how much gear that you have. You know, I find that my gear helps me be more creative, but then at a certain point, my bag gets to a certain weight and certain size where my creativity just falls off. So having all of that stuff carrying around with you isn't necessarily the best thing if you're not going to be at your most creative.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now with the two bag. We did it in the last video, and you know, I'm running two different camera systems, and it's driving me crazy. And I'm ready to just pare down now. It's so funny. It's like gear acquisition. You get all this stuff, and I got the M50. I bought all these lenses for it, and I find I'm using the kit lens more than anything now, because it's here and it's simple and it's small and it's fine.
Right.
So I think simple, and you know, just get what you need and kind of go with it and learn photography. Just get out there and have fun and be with people.
Yeah, start small. If you're just starting out with a DSLR system or a mirrorless camera system, start small, start light, and build your way up. You know, start with the basic kit zoom, maybe one prime lens with an entry-level camera, and work up to the gear that you need. You'll find after a year, you know what, I really need an ultra-wide prime for what I want to do, and that's when you search around and get one of those. Or you really need a super telephoto lens. That's what you need. But start small and work up towards that.
Yeah, and let the photography path take you where it will. I mean, you may end up as a wedding photographer, you may not. You may just, you know, shoot portraits for your friends and family, and that's enough. And you enjoy that, and it's a lot of fun, and there's no pressure. You may, you know, create a book. I mean, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. So I think just enjoy it. What is this video really about? I don't even know. We're just kind of talking today. Just felt like making a video just talking about photography today, and you know, it's a nice day, so we said, why not, right?
Exactly. Yep.
We got some videos for them to watch?
We do. So we're going to put one here, a trip that we did to Brooklyn last year, one of our favorite photo spots, so you can check that out.
And this one is also, we went over to New Jersey one night and we shot with some friends. And this is what photography is about for us. It's just about getting out there and shooting. Okay, see you in the next one.